cotton stuffing isn't going to work. Animal fibres are not an option. I'm running out of ideas. I don't have much left and I can't get any more of this as it's been discontinued by the supplier, but there should be enough to finish this doll at least. So it's Thursday morning and I'm just getting ready to start a new doll. I've got a new stuffing material. Well, it's not new really. I used this when I first started, but it's in this package. I'm going to open it and see what it's like. This seems to be loose in the plastic, and here we have some polyester fibre. That's not bad. It's quite white and it's quite soft and it's got a lot of spring to it, so yeah, this might do it. I'm going to try making a doll, stuff it with this and see how it turns out. I want to experiment with some different skin tone fabrics over the next few dolls, so I bought a few fat quarters of quilting cotton in pale off-white shades. I've got smoke grey, porcelain, zen grey and etching stone. These are all Moda Bella solids, which is an awesome fabric for doll making. I think I'm going to try smoke grey for this doll. It's a very cool, almost lavender grey shade. I'm going to team it with some grey stripes for the arms and the legs. I'm using my 22cm template. At this point, I haven't decided what I want to do with the hair and the clothes. I know I want it to be quite dark and gothic, but other than that, I'm just going to make it up as I go along. I want to button joint the head to the body, so I'm stuffing the head through a gap in the seam at the top. I usually use natural kapok for stuffing dolls, but good quality, clean kapok has been hard to find recently, so I'm having to improvise. Every time I start using a new stuffing material, it's like learning the process all over again. Each material behaves differently and you have to adapt your technique to compensate. This polyester feels very slippery. It doesn't seem to want to stay where I put it. When I'm stuffing a doll with kapok, it stays put and I kind of sculpt the shape from the inside as I'm working. That doesn't seem to be possible with this. There's no grip to it and it just keeps expanding. I'm going to needle felt the hair into the head later, so it needs to be really firm, but it's puffing out a lot, so I think the head is going to be quite round. I would usually push the stuffing out around the edges to stop any puckering at the seams, but I don't feel like I have much control with this. I'm going to have to be careful not to burst the seams. That shape's not too bad. The seams are looking a little bit strained at the sides, but the hair will cover those, so I'm not too worried about it. There's a tiny bit of puckering on the jawline, which I think I can smooth out. Pushing the piece against a flat surface is often enough to even it all out. I think that's pretty smooth now. I prefer working with kapok, but at this moment I'm happy just to be able to keep making dolls. I just need to stuff all these smaller pieces, then I can get onto the bead jointing. This might take a while. I've chosen some silver tone metal beads for the joints. Because the joints are all going to be exposed, I like to make a feature of them. I'm using some Gutermann top stitch upholstery thread to close the seams and attach the beads, so the joints will be nice and strong. I love how the metal beads look on the finished doll. Bead joints allow for quite a natural range of motion, so the doll won't look stiff or awkward. Up until recently, I ladder stitched the head to the neck for most of my dolls. This creates a secure fixed joint, but I felt for a long time that they needed that bit of extra movement. So last week I tried out a button jointed neck and it went quite well, so I'm going to do that again for this one. The joint is anchored with a button on the back of the torso where it'll be hidden by the clothing. The thread goes up through the neck to the top of the head where it's secured with another button, then back down the same way and out of the back. I make sure it's pulled tight so the head's not flopping around, then fasten it off. I'm painting some boots with acrylic paints. This is a 50-50 mix of Mars Black and some fabric medium. The medium looks like it'll affect the colour, but it's quite transparent, so it doesn't change it at all. It just makes the paint more flexible. The first coat can soak into the fabric a bit, so I'll give these a couple of coats and then I'll paint on some laces. I've given the boots a blast with a hairdryer to make sure they're completely dry before attaching the legs to the body. I've never worried about a bead joint for the hips. The hinge joint gives enough movement to allow for sitting and standing. I'm just making sure I get the tension even and they're not pulled too tight. Before I do any more work on the body, I want to shade around the eye area. I'm using Derwent Coloursoft pencils and building the pigment up layer by layer until I get a smooth dark shadow around where the buttons will be. This creates a sort of hollow sunken eye effect. My blending pencils were getting a bit worn down, so I've got a new blending set. This comes with 2 soft blending pencils, 2 harder burnishing pencils, an eraser and a little sharpener. I've always bought these separately before as I get through the blenders a lot quicker than the burnishers, but I could only find the full set this time, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to show you what you get. You can find this set on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. The blending pencil smooths out the shading and actually darkens it, so it makes such a difference to the finished doll. That will need a coat of fixative spray, so I'll work on the dress while it dries. I've made a bodice from black quilting cotton and some black grosgrain ribbon. I used the doll template to get the shape right. I've pinned it in place and I'm just ladder stitching it up the back. I've got a few different styles of lace for the skirt. I'm not sure which I'm going to use yet. I'll decide on that while I'm finishing the face details. I'm giving her some gothic eyeliner with Derwent Line Maker pens. As usual, I'm using my magnifying lamp for the fine details. The Moda Bella fabric is really nice to draw on. It has a high thread count and it's nice and smooth, so the ink just seems to glide over it. I'm loving this grey shade too. The mouth is quite a simple line with a little bit of shading underneath. I use the burnishing pencil to blend this bit as it's a bit more precise than the blender. I'm adding a couple of lines across the mouth to look like stitches and add to the spooky effect. I've decided on this broad black lace for the skirt. It's quite sheer, so I'm going to do a double layer so it's less see-through, and it'll also add a bit more fullness and make it look more dressy. I've already attached some beads to the tops of the arms, so I just need to put a couple of stitches through those to secure them to the shoulders. Then it's onto the hair. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit the like button to let me know. This helps it get seen by more people. You can also subscribe if you want, so you don't miss the next one. I've needle felted acrylic yarn into polyester stuffing before without any issues, but I can't remember if I've felted bamboo into it. I really want to use this black bamboo roving for the hair, so I'm hoping it'll work okay. I'm using the Clover pen style tool and 3 38 gauge needles. It seems to be holding well. I'm just going to keep layering on more bamboo until I cover most of the head. Then I'll have to work around that button. It's getting late though, so I don't think I'm going to finish this doll tonight. I want to get this little one photographed and listed today, so I'm up early to get her finished. I'm felting the bamboo as close as I can to that button without hitting it. I figured if I can just lay a small amount of the bamboo over the button, I should be able to felt it at either side, and that should completely cover it. The top layer of hair will lie over the top of that and you'll never know it was there. Now she just needs a quick trim to neaten up the ends. This little moth charm makes a perfect gothic necklace. I've named her Gretchen Oatgall. If you'd like to see some of the other materials I've tried for doll making, check out this video next, and I'll see you next time. Bye!